On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, presented by FanDuel, packed show. First of all, excuse the horrible lighting. I am clearly not at my home. I am on Thanksgiving break, like I'm sure many of you listening are. So we have a packed podcast for you to enjoy that. We're going to start with breaking news. Me, Payton, and Kenny hopped on for a little bit to just debrief the Drinkwitz extension. Wanted to get that part in the show because that's obviously major news for Mizzou football. So talked about that, just gave our takes, our impressions, broke it down. Kenny gave some good angles on the recruiting side of it, how it affects that. Payton talked about Missouri now having a top 4 highest paid staff in the SEC. Big time news with Drinkwitz getting extended. So we talked about that. Then we talked a little bit of men's basketball. We had the South Carolina State game earlier this week. So recap that, gave some takeaways from it as per usual. Very excited to get into the actual good games with this team and be able to dissect those a little bit more. No offense to 0-7 South Carolina State. And then Payton and Kenny did a very good interview with our good friend Anthony Kristensen, who covers Arkansas. So we previewed the game with him, I think they talked a little mid-major basketball as well. So great interview with Anthony. He's a recurring guest. He'll be back on for basketball, knows all about Arkansas beat writer. So gave some good insight ahead of that game. Then we finished up with a quick hit. So a packed show. And with that in mind, didn't get to do this at the top because I did not talk about with Anthony. A little Mizzou-Arkansas preview for you guys. I can give updated lines over from FanDuel because I'm recording this portion on a Thursday. They did the interview earlier in the week. Mizzou-Arkansas, big one, 3:30 on Saturday. Mizzou favored by 2.5 on the road against Arkansas. Missouri, you can get them plus 152 to score in every quarter. Arkansas, a little bit of a leaky defense. A parlay over in FanDuel to if you want Missouri to win in the over, it's plus 280. Missouri to win in the under, plus 185. I'm kind of intrigued by both of those. I could see a lot of scoring, but I also, Missouri's defense, that could be a real nice kind of statement against a pretty good Arkansas kind of scoring offense. So there's a little look ahead. We will see how things play out over in Fayetteville. They talked about that game with Anthony. We talked about Drinkwitz and the breaking news contract at the top of the show. So we'll get to that to start and run right into the show. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, November 28th. You're going to hear me say that twice because I thought we were going to start with basketball, but the Missouri Board of Curators had some other plans, Payton and Kenny. They had some other plans to, make beat writers do some work. They're kind of like Kenny's favorite NFL coach, D'Amico Ryans. They're working on Thanksgiving. They said they're not practicing, or they're not taking the time off. They're practicing, they're working. And the Missouri Board of Curators said, we're going to do some work too, and drop some really nice news for Mizzou fans on Thanksgiving because Eli Drinkwitz, the saga's over. Payton, you can delete your drafts, your Twitter draft of the...
I already tweeted them.
Did you tweet them already?
I tweeted my big board anyways.
Oh, okay. You got it out of the way.
Hot board,
well,
rather.
Your tweeted big board is now obsolete because Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz have agreed on a new contract. A 6-year deal, $64.5 million. The contract runs through the 2031 season. This was kind of getting floated. They obviously took that emergency meeting, for lack of a better term, with the Board of Curators, and people were speculating that was going to be, it kind of leaked out that was what they were doing, what they were talking about. And they got the deal done. And obviously a huge, I think, win for Mizzou in terms of, locking Eli Drinkwitz up with this with the coaching carousel that we're seeing, with the situations. I mean, we've talked about it at places like Ole Miss where they're giving coaches, a potential playoff team giving a coach an ultimatum. A nice deal, I think, for Mizzou to get done. Payton, your take on this. I could read some of the comments that Eli Drinkwitz said, but spoiler alert, it's a lot of coach speak and board of curators speak, being very happy to agree and do things. But huge news, it feels like, to get this done before December. I know Drinkwitz's buyout was dropping by, or how much he, I think, owed Mizzou was going to drop by $1 million on December 2nd. So there was some timeliness to this. It's not just that the board of curators doesn't like Mizzou beat writers and wants to make them work on Thanksgiving. This is an important time to get this done too. But Payton, I'll start with you. Your just reaction to this, a huge deal for Mr. Drinkwitz. I think a top 10 highest paid coach now in college football.
Definitely, because I think he was at 11 before. So more than anything, I'm just kind of relieved it's over. It's really kind of exhausting at a certain point, having to juggle like the whole coaching search. I'm sure in a lot of ways it's draining for the coaches even, but I'm not going to feel too much sympathy for them haggling over millions they're going to make. But I think it's a deal Missouri definitely had to make. Look, at the end of the day, Drinkwitz is not a perfect coach. I think there's so few. I really think the number of good coaches in college football, like true outright just good at everything coaches, you could maybe count on two hands. I think it's just impossible to find a perfect candidate. But I think Mizzou, when you're a program that was kind of mired in mediocrity for the better part of a decade, you get a guy that wins 28 games in 3 years with the opportunity to win 2 more. That's just something I don't think you can let go. Yes, if Drinkwitz had left, I think they would have had a very attractive pool of candidates. I think the job probably would never have been more attractive to someone to take. But the odds you get someone that kind of replicates what Drink has done, I think were pretty slim. I don't think it was very good odds. Guys like Curt Cignetti simply do not grow on trees. There's a lot more chance you take a step back than a step forward from where Mizzou is now. Because I think what Drink has done is he's raised the floor. We're in a position where Missouri, if they win on Saturday, Missouri gets to 8-4, and that we as fans can look at that and go, well, it was kind of a down year. I think if 8-4 is your floor, that's exactly what Missouri needs to be. And occasionally you pop up, you win, you get a good group of seniors, the transfers click, you win 10 or 11 games, you make the playoff, and you go from there. That's really, I think, what the ceiling is at Missouri, and I think Drinkwitz is capable of reaching it. He really did it in 2023. He just did it a year early. That team was a playoff team, like a bona fide playoff team. So I'm glad at the end of the day. I did kind of become indifferent. I was just like, leave or don't by the end. Like, I just really wanted a resolution. But I do think Drinkwitz coming back and getting pretty much most of what he wanted. I shout out to Frank Cusimano, who is pretty much all over this saga. He tweeted last night the extension was for 6 years. If he hits incentives, years will be added. It's a raise for Drink, which I think obviously an extension is almost certainly going to come with it. But the next part, I think, is kind of what Drink was really pushing for. His staff will be a top 4 paid staff in the SEC. That is absolutely bonkers to have at Missouri. And I think truly Drink's, a lot of people are going to talk about with Link and Kirby Moore's troubles this year. I truly do still think Drink's best quality is his staff building. He has a knack for finding a lot of great assistants in the recruiting world, or really just, like guys like Luper and Peeler, just great outright coaches in general. So to see him get that kind of infusion of resources being put towards his staff, I'm pretty excited to see what he can do with that. And I'm sure it's going to come with, we all remember from the Mississippi State game, the Tom Hart Fortune 500 companies thing. I'm sure there's plenty more NIL, plenty more NIL investments coming down the pipe for Drink. So overall, I think it had to be done. I don't think Missouri was going to be better off without Drink than with him.
Kenny, I'll throw this to you with the what Payton had or what Payton said for some additional food for thought for your take on this, because I think it is that top four, the assistant coaches being like a top four staff in the SEC, like that feels. I think that is a super important part of this, and Payton makes a good point there. And to go, that is coupled with, of course, the recruiting that a lot of these assistants do, which you follow. What was some of the reaction from that world, and obviously, I guess your thought on the extension in general, but also, with the assistants and being able to kind of pay these guys, at least for most of them, Eric Link being a notable exception, the compensation they probably fairly deserve with what they've brought on the field and to the recruiting space with this team.
Yeah, I'll go with the recruiting side first, Jack, and a lot of positive reviews. I mean, there were some articles out there that some of the national guys did at Rivals asking some of these players ahead of time. TJ Hodges was one of them, running back out of Arkansas. In-state linebacker Keenan Harris weren't really thinking about it too much. They were kind of in a boat where they kind of let things play out, but they were also thinking Drinkwitz would stay. And I thought that was a good quote from Keenan Harris today. He talked about that, and I pulled up real quick. I was never really scared of him leaving, just because I know he loves Mizzou, the city, and everything he built in the town of Columbia. But I've always been locked in, and now I know he's not going anywhere. So I thought that was a good response, and some other ones too, like Isaac Jensen, tight end commit. He was very high on it. Gavin Sidwar was one that had been asking questions for a while. I think quarterbacks are always a little bit more advanced in their knowledge and thinking about this, and he was keeping tabs on it, talking to his dad about it, and his dad kept telling him stay grounded, control what you can control. You've only lost one game this season. You have a state title up for grabs. Focus on that. And he even said kids were coming up to him in his high school and asking him, what's going to happen? Are you going to lose your coach? Are you still going to go to Mizzou? And he didn't have the answer, and now he does. So I thought that was a pretty neat thing that kind of comes out of this too, is that there's a recruiting side of it of these kids that might have to think about looking somewhere else because none of the coaches they committed to would be there. But with that as well, as you can bolster some of these spots. I know special teams offense might be under a pretty harsh review this offseason, and you try to see if if you can fix that internally, or if you try to fix it externally, and now you can really go after some big hitters, if they need other position coaches to come in.
Yeah, I think the touching on with the staff being paid what they are now, I think is just a major importance, and you articulated why with the recruiting side. I've in thinking about this as this has gone on, I almost view this in a pragmatic way where it almost feels more like an insurance policy rather than a reward for success sometimes to me. Obviously it is a reward for success. Drinkwitz has done an excellent job. Payton laid out his resume, but I think when you talk about trying to create consistency, within your program and keeping Mizzou at that playoff or borderline playoff kind of level, it almost feels like this is just what you do. You pay a high, you pay a high deductible, which is giving your coach a big salary. And, in exchange, they have to pay a high premium if they don't want to stay at your program anymore. And you get the insurance of having a quality guy on your sideline to hopefully not have to worry about being a bad football team again. I think that there's a little bit of an analogy there with this and with maybe some other, situations. And I don't know, I think back to what we talked about with Rickson Lane over at Believe in South Carolina, with what he was talking about with Beamer and how he was really surprised at how the fan base kind of turned on him. And Beamer's been sort of, open about how this is a place he wants to win at and wants to be. He doesn't see it as a stepping stone. And, now Drinkwitz, you can see how that might go with him. You have some years now to keep building and kind of see if he can raise Mizzou's ceiling a little bit, or at the very least keep them at the level they've been at. And maybe be that guy that goes down, as one of the better coaches in this program's history, rather than treating it as he raised their ceiling a little bit, and jumped, to wherever.
He's tied for the sixth most wins in Missouri history, which I thought was a little bit crazy. I didn't really know if it was that high already, and I think that's a good spot to be in. With that as well, Jack, you raise the expectations, and I think that's why a lot of people are, always picking on the games that Drinkwitz hasn't won. You pick on the ones that he didn't have the big win. He doesn't have the top 10 win yet. That's what kind of comes with, having 2 10-win seasons, and now you can get 9 this season as your ceiling. And I think, for us, it's a little bit different because we don't have much history with Missouri. I think this is probably the highest expectations have been for the Tigers since the early 2010s when you go to back-to-back SEC championships. And now you're actually, wanting to compete and be in the playoff each year. And I think that's probably the highest it's been ever. I mean, we can even point out in 2019, I think some of us, Payton and I included, were trying to find a way for Missouri to make the playoff that year, just because we thought everything was kind of trending up for the Tigers. And then you finish 6-6 and don't get to play in a bowl game. So that's where I kind of go with that. I think there's still a lot to do for this Missouri team and in the program. I don't think it's really reached where it wants to be. And I think this is probably the right extension, the right new contract to get Drinkwitz in that direction of what he wants to do.
Payton, I know you have more thoughts. I'm just going to throw into it wouldn't feel right with the stadium expansion either to have that done and then have a new guy on the sideline who didn't help foresee the growth of the program that triggers something like that. I'm sort of from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm happy that he'll be, on the sideline for when that kind of debuts. I think that's fitting.
Yeah, seeing through kind of what he set in motion, I think. I think also kind of what this extension kind of shows, being able to take Drink off the market in the craziest coaching carousel probably in our lifetimes. I know Brian Kelly to LSU and Lincoln Riley to USC kind of gives us a run for its money, but I mean, it just Mizzou has shown the willingness to kind of swim in the deep end as much as feasibly possible over the last few years. Laird Veach had the quote about, we're going to be opting in, we're going to be the highest level revenue sharing we can. We're going to build this new north end zone upgrade. We're going to build this giant indoor practice facility. Missouri has taken a lot of meaningful steps to try and really play with the big boys in this one. And again, there's still a ceiling on it at the end of the day. Missouri is not going to turn into an Alabama or a Georgia, but they've really done a good job of kind of putting themselves in contention for that second tier of consistent programs. And I think that's kind of the sweet spot. If you can kind of just get to a consistent baseline, it seems like Drinkwitz has established here, I really think the world kind of becomes your oyster. And Mizzou has shown a willingness. I mean, to me, seeing Mizzou, with some of the schools in that conference, to be willing to be in the top 4, assuming Frank Cusimano's report is accurate, and Frank Cusimano's been on top of this the whole time, so I have no reason to doubt it. But seeing that in a conference with teams like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, for Mizzou to be in the top 4 of their assistant pool with that is just nuts to me. It's not something I would have imagined in my wildest dreams. And it shows that they're committed to kind of seeing this through with Drink. So
I think too, I mean, the way we have, especially with the 12-team playoff, so much parity now, obviously Georgia feels like the best kind of modern example of how, Kirby Smart is one of those coaches, Payton, where you're talking about a coach that's good at everything and can do all of what you need to do as a coach at a really high level. That team's kind of the only one that's bridged the gap. And they're not even in the Nick Saban Alabama levels where they're winning national championships or in the national championship game every year. I think just college football has shifted now where you're probably not, I don't know if you're ever going to have that again with how much coaching turnover you get and how much rosters change year after year now. But what you have in an extension like this is you create as much consistency as you can. That's going to put you, in the playoff or nearabouts and give you the opportunity to kind of raise that ceiling. I think with what you said, I think Mizzou's put themselves in a position to maybe do that. I don't know if I don't think any team is going to have, I don't think you're going to see teams anymore rip off 2 to 3 or even 3 to 4 national championships or national championship appearances in a row anymore. I just think it's the landscape doesn't create that possibility. But if you can put yourself in a position to be in the playoff and contend for it, you never know. I mean, the chips, things might break for you and Mizzou could, break through and achieve something that the fan base has never seen. I don't know. I think this extension creates that avenue with keeping a guy like Drink around. So
my last thought on that too is that you look at some of the guys that commitment wise recruits in high school or college come in through the transfer portal. You see a coach stick around. I think that kind of makes you lean more into that program and think a little bit more highly when things are coming their way. You always talk about, is the grass greener on the other side? Don't know if it was for Drinkwitz. If you had to go to another place, maybe like Florida or Penn State, you're almost starting over at the same time. Some recruits didn't really stick with their commitments at Penn State. Some are elsewhere, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame. A lot of guys committed to the Florida brand. They didn't just commit to the coaches or Napier. So you didn't really know what to expect there. But, when there's a lot of positives and a lot of positive changes coming to Missouri, I think that's also just an attractive piece when your coach sticks around with that as well, when you're seen as probably one of the more lesser brands in the SEC. And I think that's fair to say, but it's also like turning the corner on what Missouri looks like nationally.
So we've step number 1, you get the extension. Step number 2 is STP has to go. Need a new mantra now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Put that in writing.
That'll be an off-season pod. Maybe we'll each present like 5 ideas, 5 new slogans to pitch for the future of Mizzou football. I think that can be a good. I also want to do. I might do this exercise for Sunday, Kenny. Maybe I can replace the Ken Sports shirts of we name the coach. I'm now thinking of what Payton said. Who are the coaches in college football now that are just elite at everything? How many are there actually? Like, you could rip them off now, but I think we think about it. You let that marinate. That could be a future.
I mean, the ones that come to mind right off the top of my head.
Just going to do it. It's going to ruin my.
Well, I'm not going to name all of them, but like Kirby Smart is one.
I think he's the guy. I think if there is the standard, I think it's.
I know people may disagree with this. I still think Kalen DeBoer is that guy. I think he's just getting used to everything at Bama right now. There's some growing pains. I'm still really big on Kalen DeBoer. I think Curt Cignetti's like that. You might be able to talk me into Ryan Day in that tier, although a year ago I would not have been on that train at all.
This podcast, and particularly its X account, does not like Ryan Day.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to point. Like, I don't know that I'd even throw like a Steve Sarkisian in there. It's tough. It's tough to name all those guys, but I'm pretty confident in Kirby Smart for sure.
Yeah.
Cignetti, I think, is still one. I'll still throw Kalen DeBoer in there.
Just because those guys are there, it's not like Nick Saban. It doesn't guarantee they're going to be in the national championship every year.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a different landscape that we're in. I mean, it'll probably guarantee him a playoff spot, but from there, who knows? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Put James Madison in. That'd be a frisky game. It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
No, I kid. So yeah, there you go. Drinkwitz gets extended. Big news for everyone's Thanksgiving. I think everyone will eat their turkey and enjoy the weekend a lot more comfortably now, assuming the Arkansas game goes the way of the Tigers. But we'll kick it to that. There's my good segue. Payton and Kenny talked to Anthony Kristensen. We're recording this on Thursday, by the way. How'd the interview go, gents? I haven't heard it yet. I'm about to edit it. Yeah.
Actually, next should be basketball.
Should we do basketball? I was gonna do all football.
That's what we said it as basketball.
Oh, okay. You intro.
And then after, when we did quick hits, you said, how was the interview with Anthony? We hadn't done it yet.
You're right. Okay, so we'll do basketball in between. So you have to wait. We'll talk hoop. The highly anticipated South Carolina State recap will come first, and then we'll do Anthony.
This show might be 2 hours long.
This show will be long. Yeah. This will
Yep.
be long. And pray for me.
Eli.
I'm up in the North Woods editing this. It's the export time might be like 5 hours. This is gonna be really interesting to import and export where I am right now for the holidays. But that's all right. We care about you, the loyal audience members. That's who we do this for. So you don't get this content anywhere else. But yes, we'll be back on Monday. Maybe we'll have some more notes. We'll certainly recap the Arkansas game then. So I'm signing off. Like, I'm not going to be. I guess I'm on quick hits, so I appear later in the show. But
sorry again for
You're
the
also
longer
in the
show,
basketball.
Grandma.
You're in.
No,
you're in the
but I'm
basketball
saying,
part.
but quick hits is the last thing I'm on. I just whatever. Drinkwitz got extended.
Grandma, I'm in every segment, so don't worry.
every segment.
Me too.
Yep,
that's true. Yeah. So you guys are I do the intro. I make up for it there in the front end. All right. there's an insight into how the show gets laid out. Drinkwitz extended, big news. We will kick it to ourselves, talking a little hoop, and then we'll get to Anthony Kristensen.
And now for something completely different.
Welcome back to the Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, November 28th. I can't do math in my brain. We're recording the beginning of this show, spoiler alert, on Wednesday, navigating the Thanksgiving holiday. Just like you all, fair viewers and listeners. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Thanksgiving and holiday season, enjoying the college and NFL football on tap. You guys, quick. Well, we'll start with that. Quick Thanksgiving rundown. What do you guys got planned? Anything fun? Don't scoff at that question. That is the most normal question.
Oh, what are you like? Are you like? Do you have a Google Doc open with what are the most basic things I can ask my two best pals right now? Let's say what's our favorite Thanksgiving moment of all time. Let's do that one instead. It's the same thing every year.
Jack, I'm so sorry. I don't know what this is all.
He puts
about.
on the headset and something gets into him. He thinks he's all cool and savvy because he's got a headset.
He gets an Xbox mic on and goes crazy. No,
Yeah.
I'm just
he thinks because he's the leading Mizzou recruiting analyst, he can just look down on us and treat us like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten all high and mighty on us
because he's talking to recruits.
I don't want to hear your Thanksgiving plans, Kenny. I don't care anymore.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, actually, that plays right into his hands. He didn't want to tell me anyway. He just wants to talk about sports and be boring. Payton, you want to tell the people either your Thanksgiving plans or your favorite Thanksgiving memory ever? I guess.
I am going to be having turkey and stuffing.
Nice.
And watching football.
How are you feeling about the Bears and Eagles? It's a big game.
Yeah, it's also on Black Friday, not Thanksgiving.
Oh, but it's it's not the usual Sunday. It's part of Thanksgiving.
I heard the game's 50% off.
that was good.
We're off to a roaring start here.
I'm delaying the inevitable, which is leading the show off with Mizzou men's basketball, who shock and awe hosted the 348th ranked team in KenPom and beat them by 32 points, fellas. Missouri defeats South Carolina State 98-66. Another easy peasy win for Mizzou, which improves to 7-0. Payton, you want to guess? You might have already looked because I know you're also a KenPom fiend. Where is Missouri now in KenPom? Where do you think?
33.
Okay, you did check.
They were 33 coming into the day, I think.
Oh, they haven't moved yet then. They are still 33. I'll start with kind of the headliner here, frankly, which comes as a member of Missouri's bench and another debutante for the Tigers, Mr. Trent Burns, friend of the program. Great interview with him. Last summer now, 2 summers ago now, because it was ahead of his freshman season with Mizzou. We chatted with Trent. He finally took the court, made his debut for Mizzou, 7 points, 3 rebounds. He got a block, a couple of turnovers, 1 foul in 11 minutes. Obviously great to see him just back on the court. Has dealt with, some just a litany of injury stuff and has been held back. And that obviously is, you kind of feels like the head storyline here in a game. Mizzou wins by 30 over a mid-major. So I'll ask your guys' takeaway. You know what? He'll take the de facto Maybor-Majak bench performance of the game, just because it's great to see him finally see the floor for Mizzou boys.
Yeah, good for Trent Burns. It's a shame that Mizzou just can't be kind of normal. Like it came out earlier today that Burns was actually going to get to play. He was on a minutes restriction, but he was going to get to play. But it came with the caveat that Jaden Stone got injured in practice and was going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. So they need some of these bench guys to step up. And Trent Burns, I'll tell you what, it was fun to watch. It was cool to see him get on the court in the first half. I believe they said it was his mother, was very emotional, understandably so. It was a cool moment for him after a year and a half of just battling through injuries and whatnot, to get on the court. He had a rebound. He just kind of looked, like he was knocking the rust off in that first that first sequence. Didn't really get to do a whole lot. But man, in the second half, he was fun to watch. He had an insane block, just using every bit of that length he has. Had like 3 vicious dunks. Again, he's not a finished product by any means yet. I don't know. He's a guy I'd chuck out there for like 15 minutes in SEC play right now. But it's really, really easy to dream on the potential. Just based off what we saw tonight and just based off the measurables and what we've heard. Definitely a very strong debut at Mizzou for Trent Burns, and a long time coming.
Tremby. I heard some people calling him that. You called him an alien, Payton, kind of like
I love it.
And I know that he's been kind of dubbed a unicorn before, and it was just like, when are you going to finally see this guy? I saw some tweets too. It's like, oh, it's so great to have him back. There was never like a time where he was really ever available. Like one time, and I guess it would have been in the NCAA tournament or late into the SEC play last year when he actually finally got cleared to play. So really cool to see. I mean, I've walked past him before. Just at Mizzou, and he's a tall guy, but seeing him actually on the court as a 7'5" center, I mean, that's awesome to have that size in there. And he's a pretty smooth 7'5" big man as well. There were some passes. One of those turnovers that you mentioned earlier, Jack, was a pass on the inside to Anthony Robinson, and he zipped it. I mean, he can sling the ball if you really need him to. So I think that's a nice little addition to that as well. And one of the biggest teams in the country gets even bigger, gets even longer with Trent Burns. And I think that's a really cool thing as well. I have a couple trivia bits throughout the show. Just some numbers to throw out there. Do you guys remember his nickname?
Well, I mean, did he say it? Did he say it when we had him on?
Scoop.
Yeah, it's Scoop.
That's right.
So I was wondering about this because Tamar Bates was Scoop. Did Trent Burns not get to use his nickname last year, and he might actually get to use it this year?
Yeah, that was so random because some broadcasters would just call him Scoop Bates for the entire game, which was it's a cool nickname, but that got a little distracting. But yeah, I don't know if they were both Scoop and Scoop 2, or maybe Scoop and Little Scoop if he's he's the younger guy.
He might be bigger Scoop though.
Yeah, I guess he is. He is
Scoop Junior.
Scoop Junior. I like Tremby though. Tremby's fun. I mean, obviously, what Victor Wembanyama is doing in the NBA is just insane. So if that gets it all replicated by Mr. Yeah, you would be a hater.
Yeah.
No, you just don't like the NBA. No, you don't have any response to that. He's done talking. All right, whatever. I will admit I did not get a chance to watch this game. I will watch it back later on, and I want to see. I mean, you make a good point, Payton. How Mizzou's going to kind of respond going forward here. You presume that 3 to 4 weeks, if I'm doing the math in my head correctly, for sure we'll rule Jaden Stone out for the Kansas game and the Notre Dame games. I guess we'll see how close he can maybe coming back for that Illinois game. So that's going to be a big goal.
Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman.
You're right. Sorry, I can't overlook those either. Two huge ones. I'm going to find where they're at in Ken Palm by the end of this. But with that in mind, I will just let you guys fill in the usual superlatives I have that I've been trying to dish out. So I'll let you two give one out. Who are you giving your game ball to for this one, other than Tremby for making his debut? Actually, he already got the May Jacques Bench Award. So
we might have the same one here, Payton. And I think it's just because it's become like a reoccurring thing about when he comes back from an illness and he plays well. I think Sean Phillips had a pretty good game. He only missed one shot. He was 7 for 8 from the field, 3 for 5 from the line. He had 8, led the team with 8 rebounds, 17 points, was leading the game as well. I think it was a pretty strong 15 minutes on the court for someone who came back again after not being in the rotation.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it to him as well. I don't think anyone really played flat out crazy good, but there were a lot of good performances here. I'll definitely give it to Phillips, though. I agree with Kenny. It feels like him and Mitchell are slowly but surely really learning to play next to each other. Mitchell had a couple really nice lobs to Phillips for some dunks. I think that's really crucial considering defense.
Payton, not to interrupt you, but a big to big lob. One of the most fun things you can see on a basketball court. That's always great.
I mean, those opportunities are going to be there. I mean, if you have Phillips kind of standing there and Mitchell starts driving in the lane, everybody's going to go after Mitchell. Everyone thinks Mitchell's going to try and get to the line or play bully ball in the paint. So if he's able to keep kicking out of that and find Phillips, and Phillips is able to fill and cut to the basket well, I think that's really big. Mitchell had a great day passing the ball as well. I mean, it was just another, it wasn't like a light up the stat sheet day for Mark Mitchell, but a very good day for him. I thought he also, I don't remember, it didn't feel like only 1 turnover for Mitchell. So that's very good against 6 assists. So really big. That's a big number for him there to have a 6-1 assist to turnover. That's nuts for him. I'll also shout out Honor Boateng. Thought he got an uptick in minutes. I thought he made the most of them. He was really going for some Sports Center dunks today.
He got one.
He finally got one at the end. But he looks like a much more confident player. He's not afraid to shoot from deep. His stroke looked really good from the free throw line. That's just something I picked up on. Definitely looks like he's slowly but surely also getting a bit more comfortable with his role. And I think that's very, very crucial for Mizzou going forward, especially without Jaden Stone for the time being.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. That Payton is a good. I was going to ask what you had maybe thought was the most improved thing from the South Dakota game that you saw, and maybe there's another team trend that you liked. And again, not to over deduce from a game against an 0-6 South Carolina team, which you guys failed to mention. Kenny said, there's not much to talk about with basketball, that these two teams had a common opponent in South Dakota. I got very excited when I saw that.
Oh, that was a part of my trivia.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
I did look that up. Yeah, they I think lost by 2 to the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, last game out for South Carolina State.
Common opponent. They both last played South Dakota. What are the odds? But yeah, I mean, Honor Boateng, whatever he can give in this absence of Jaden Stone, it's going to be big. I've also noticed, you talk about the Sean Phillips Jr. trend of getting sick and then coming back. I don't know if that's something Mizzou can necessarily replicate every week, nor maybe should they for the long-term health of Mr. Phillips. But I've noticed that. And then also Kenny, something we talked about, the continuation of Sebastian Mack scoring 12 points on 10 field goal attempts. Man, I like Sebastian Mack and his wild card energy, but I don't know how much these inefficient stat lines can continue for him to be a consistent contributor in SEC play. Takes a lot of shots.
I mean, overall, too, it wasn't that efficient of a day for Missouri in general. 28% from 3, and 5 of them just misses came from Jacob Cruz, who played 23 minutes in this game and really was just looking for that 1,000th point. The broadcast kept bringing it up every time he would take a shot. It's like, okay, here's for 1,000. And he just wasn't really finding his rhythm behind the arc today. 2 for 7 overall. And I know we talked about regressing to the mean, but this was kind of more of a pretty sharp drop off, 52, 28, and 77 across the line there. I don't think it's anything to really worry about, but probably something you just want to get back into a consistent rhythm before you face some of these Power 4 opponents.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're going to have those inefficient games. I don't know if Payton, you have any thoughts on that, or with Sebastian Mack and his trend, because I've continued to pick up on that. Takes a lot of shots.
Yeah, I think he gets tunnel vision sometimes. Definitely needs to be aware of when he can kick out, find some guys in the corner on the wing. Not really concerned about anything in particular. They didn't have their best day from 3-point land, but I'm not that worried. They've been good pretty much every other game. They're allowed an off night. They had a couple off nights last year early in non-con.
Yeah, they outscored their opponent by 30 points with an off night. I think that's still a very good performance, like you're saying, Payton.
Any other superlatives you want to give out? Was there a random cameo in this game? I managed to find those the last 2. I don't know if there was any funniness on the broadcast or anyone popping up. I was trying to keep that going.
No
Eli Drinkwitz walking out at halftime like James Franklin did at Virginia Tech. Nothing of that nature.
No, I can't think of anything.
I think the most random one, or maybe a cool moment like that, was when Peyton mentioned earlier where they showed Trent Burns' mom. She was very excited, but I don't even know if that's random.
Yeah,
'cause the whole
that
night
doesn't probably qualify as random.
Yeah, and maybe if Trent Burns wasn't playing, but this was a very big night, so of course he probably had someone in the building.
Mizzou is 7-0. We're almost out of the weeds into some of the more fun games that we can dissect this team even more. They will play Cleveland State on Friday. We will not have a dedicated post-game recap, I don't think, on Friday. I think we're just going to save that one. Even though that compelling storyline, Dennis Gates bull, but sorry to the Vikings. That will probably just get lumped in the rest of our Sunday recording as we head into the new week. With potentially some Eli Drinkwitz news, which we're also kind of holding off on with when the meeting for all that stuff is. I'll mention all that in the intro as well. So some timeline things. Any other final basketball points you want to get out before we don't talk about this team again until the other side of Thanksgiving?
Yes. Okay.
Ooh,
here
trivia?
we go. So I made a joke that the South Carolina State team was the best 0-6 team in the country because the last time these two teams faced was the first win for Missouri after Missouri lost to Jackson State in the 2023-2024 season. In that game, Mizzou won 82-59. Mizzou was, I don't remember this, but Mizzou was losing at halftime, 37-35. And then Mizzou outscored South Carolina State and ran away with the win, 47-22 in the second half. So I was looking at that, and that sent me down onto KenPom as well. Well, they've updated KenPom has updated ranking, not rankings.
I'm going to click off of KenPom.
Okay, yeah, updated wins and losses, but like Peyton mentioned earlier, I don't think that these ratings are fully updated at the moment.
No, I just don't think Missouri moved.
Oh, okay, so we'll just say they're updated because everything else is updated on here. South Carolina State is bottom 5 in college basketball right now, but not the best 0-7 team.
Oh, I know who this is. I won't answer. Peyton can try and get it.
Go ahead, Peyton.
So there's another 0-7 team?
There are 3.
There are 3.
Mississippi Valley State has a win. I would doubt Chicago State has a win. Do they have
Chicago
a win?
State is 3rd among 0-7 teams.
So they are 0-7.
Yeah. Do you want the conference?
Teams? Mercyhurst has a win. New Haven has a win.
I weirdly don't think this is a team that he would think of right away.
I don't either.
Is it like what's the conference?
SWAC.
Arkansas Pine Bluff?
No, Arkansas Pine Bluff is in last, but Arkansas Pine Bluff is 0-8.
Ooh.
A lot of like former and future Missouri opponents down here at the bottom.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Jeez. So Mizzou has played this team before, is what you're saying?
No.
Like in the Gates era? Oh.
No. I was just talking about the other ones.
They're just the highest ranked 0-7 team in the country.
Yeah.
A SWAC 0-8 team that's not Arkansas Pine Bluff or Mississippi Valley State.
That's why I didn't think he would get it. Texas
Southern is normally not down there. I don't think it's Alabama A&M. Not going to be Alabama State.
They made the tournament.
Yeah, they're decent.
They were beating Auburn at one point in that game.
Yeah. It's not Southern. It's not going to be Grambling, I don't think. It's not Southern, not Grambling.
Still hasn't said it.
Man, this is tough. Can I get a state?
Or
I'll take a hint if you have one.
It's not. They're not in Alabama, Kenny.
Oh, okay. Is it Mississippi?
I think they're in one of the Carolinas. No, it is Mississippi. You're right. You're right. Sorry.
So this is a team that does not have a state name in it.
Correct.
I guess. Yeah.
Any other hint?
Or we're giving you a red herring.
Quarterback. I feel like that would give it away.
Oh.
I see. The Braves, Alcorn State.
Correct.
Indeed.
333rd in the country at 0-7. Yep.
Kenny, we're on the same wavelength because if your quiz was going to be different, I was going to literally ask you guys to name the other 0 for teams in KenPom.
you want to do all the offers? Because there's some pretty high ranked offer teams.
I'm just looking at them. So
Did you have another question at all, Kenny? Or
No, the other one was who was the last opponent for South Carolina State. Nichols, 263rd, 0-5.
Is there anyone with a winning record? Oh my God, there are. Appalachian State and Portland are both 4-3, and they are like 20 spots below 0-5 Nichols. KenPom is a strange place.
Northern Iowa, 6-0.
Go Panthers. Shout out Cedar Falls.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of O for teams. I think UMass did win a game. Not UMass. I'm talking about Maryland Eastern Shore, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I know Loyola has only one win. They are flat out abysmal.
I mean, there's 12 of them. I don't think he's going to get off.
Coppin State, are they one?
Nope, 2-7.
Damn.
Sorry, Kenny. I'm hijacking your quiz. I feel bad. I need to let you cook.
Morgan State.
They're
nope, 1-6.
Bottom though, yeah.
Oh.
Do you want me to run through them?
Just go ahead and run through them. We're gonna be here forever.
All right, I'll go from bottom to top. So this is lowest in KenPom to the highest. Arkansas Pine Bluff 0-8, St. Francis 0-5, Chicago State 0-7. St. Francis is about to go to D3, by the way. Florida A&M's 0-4, South Carolina State's now 0-7, Gardner Webb 0-6, Alcorn State 0-7, Jackson State 0-6, so still the best 0-6 team in the country. Wagner 0-5, Texas Southern 0-5, Maine 0-6. Would have been better if Cooper Flagg. Oh, they have his brother. And Nichols 0-5.
It's a shame about Maine. They were one win away from the NCAA tournament last year.
They really only get all the talent in the Flagg family really went to one of them. The brother got nothing.
They're twins too, aren't they?
Yeah, Ace Flagg is the kid's name.
Last thing on this game, the broadcast mentioned that South Carolina State was 2 points away from the NCAA tournament last year. South Carolina State. Didn't the broadcast mention that the team was only 2 points away from making the NCAA tournament?
I did not know that.
I'm checking.
See the final. I thought the SWAC final was.
Well, South Carolina's in the MEAC. South Carolina State's in the MEAC.
Right. No, you're right.
They lost 66-65 to Norfolk State. Oh my goodness.
Trigger warning. That's right. The SWAC game I'm thinking of was Grambling Southern because we were just talking about that.
South Carolina State, get this, ended the year winning 11 straight games going into that championship game.
My gosh.
Lost by 1. They won 11 straight.
I did hear their coach has done a really good turnaround of that program. He was an assistant under Huggins at West Virginia for a lot of years.
Yeah, so don't sleep on. So maybe it'll turn into a quality win.
Yeah, come on, get up in the KenPom 250 range. Help us a little bit. Come
they
on.
Actually do. I mean, they played some decent teams, but they do have a run. They play Winthrop, Chicago State, Bethune, Charleston Southern, Queens, SC Upstate, and Bruton Parker before their next high major game. So maybe they can get some wins.
Did lose to Louisville at the beginning of the year.
They did. They lost to Louisville. Yeah, might be a down for the old Bulldogs.
I did have one more. There was one player that's played in both of these matchups with Mizzou and South Carolina State. Both times he played off the bench. James Morrow scored 4 points in 13 minutes tonight here on Tuesday. And then 2 years ago, he scored 2 points in 8 minutes off the bench as a freshman.
Shout out.
This is the content you get on the Unwritten Rule here, folks.
You're not going to see that in any gamer out there.
No
gamer, no recap.
This is what
if
you
there
get.
are South Carolina State fans watching this podcast, I hope you appreciate our deep dive on South Carolina State.
You're welcome.
We had a reply about our Oklahoma preview, and Oklahoma fans thought we had a good preview about it, and we're pretty spot on. So
well,
cool.
Yeah, I was 3 points off.
Yeah, we all picked them to win. Of course, we had a good preview. They're all. I mean, I will say that's what you should do when you beat your rival is go listen to all of their related content.
I'll totally admit I listened to a lot of OU podcasts last year after that game. a lot.
Yeah, it's what you do. It's exactly what you're supposed to
I
do.
won't
consume
name
a lot of
any
content.
names, but
Oh.
you can connect the dots.
All right, there you go. There's a South Carolina State recap. We'll kick to a break. Kenny and Payton are going to preview the Arkansas game with a good friend, our dear pal Anthony Kristensen. I'm so sad I am not on this portion of the show. Always a treat talking to AK. You guys have to. We're recording this part of the show before they do the interview. You guys have to ask him about some basketball with how they've started the season.
He
Please
doesn't
ask
like basketball, though.
Yeah. Oh, this is good already. Please ask him about the Winthrop game. Please. I beg. So hopefully I'll listen. Hopefully they do that. But we will get you that and then quick hits where I will be on for to finish the show.
And now for something completely different.
All right, time for our Arkansas preview. No better person to bring on than a true son and a former junior college soccer player as well. So
D1.
D1 junior college.
D1
right?
JUCO, come on.
D1 JUCO. We don't get that very often. We don't get to talk to Anthony very often as much as we used to. It was always good to have Anthony Kristensen back on, Arkansas reporter for Hog Sports and the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Anthony, that was a mouthful. I think this is the first time we've had you on, or maybe second time since the move to Arkansas. How has it been, transitioning to that? I know it's a bigger beat for you. We're going to get into it. You have a coaching search again. Last time you did that, Mizzou hired Dennis Gates. I don't think.
Well, not the last time I did that. I also had the John Calipari search.
Oh, yes.
And
How
the
could I
David
forget?
Ragland search.
Okay.
So I like to joke that of people who are fewer than 3 years removed from graduating college, I have the most coaching search experience per capita.
It follows you. I think that's the best way.
Where I go, chaos comes. So,
looking at this Arkansas game now, I mean, you've been around. This is your second season covering the team, and so I know it's a little bit different than maybe last year. What's been the overall just feeling around the Razorbacks this season compared to last year? And I know maybe there was a little bit of higher expectations of actually trying to compete in the SEC. You get to this point in the year and you don't have a win in SEC play going into the season finale. I mean, what have been the vibes just around this team as they're trying to find that new coach and trying to change the identity of the Razorbacks?
Yeah, I think the big thing is I mean, they haven't thrown in the towel as I think sometimes you would expect a team that is, 2-9 to do. They've still competed in a lot of games. I think they've got 6 one-possession losses, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 7 or 5 or somewhere in there. There's a lot of one-possession losses. Too many to keep track of. But I think you maybe saw a little bit of that maybe against Texas where Bobby Petrino came out after the game and said for the first time he felt like some of the guys, their attitudes weren't all the way there and some stuff like that. So I think with the team, I think it's been just keep chugging along, keep playing, keep doing everything you need to do because, for, the guys who are graduating and moving on, I think they still want to, have good highlights and everything for, their future professional ambitions. If there are players on the team who have, those ambitions, which I know there are. I know Cam Ball wants to play in the NFL. Taylor Green wants to play in the NFL. Whether or not they do, that's obviously not up to me, but and then, there are going to be guys who want to stick around at Arkansas and want to prove that they're SEC quality players for, whoever the new coach is going to be, so, there's that. And then there's guys who want to, put together good clips for, wherever their next stop is going to be, wherever they're going to transfer out to. So I think that's been the biggest message that, Petrino and kind of the interim staff has kind of, I guess, thrown together. But obviously it hasn't resulted in wins, and I think as the season has progressed, I think, externally, among the fan base, people have just kind of been, ready for it to end a little bit, and just kind of get on to, whatever comes next, whoever the new coach is going to be. So I think that's kind of the general overview just from, I guess, the way I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's where things generally stand.
Payton, before your question, I was thinking about this, and even when you were talking about the one-score games, Anthony, and I didn't even know that Arkansas didn't have a win in the SEC this year until this week, until I was looking at this Arkansas team. You might know this, and I think it's a fairly probably easy question, too. It's might have come up a couple times. When's the last time Bobby Petrino won a game as the Arkansas head coach? Do you know?
2011, if I'm not mistaken.
January 6th. So I guess that would be 2012 against Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl.
Okay, the 2011 season.
Yeah,
I'll give myself some credit for that then.
Yeah.
Kind of just pivoting off the Bobby Petrino point. I mean, it kind of felt like ever since he took over, like as Arkansas's OC, I don't want to say like it was a full-blown guarantee, but everyone kind of felt like they were waiting for like the moment, like it kind of bottomed out on Pittman and they pivoted over to him as the OC. Was there ever, obviously now I don't think anyone really expects it to be him as the full-time coach. You can't go winless as the interim and probably pick that job up, but was there any thought initially, like when he was first given the reins as the interim, that he might be the permanent coach after the season?
Yeah, no, and when they first made the coaching change and let go of Sam Pittman, like that was immediately on the table. Like it was part of the press release that Bobby Petrino wanted to be considered for the full-time job. And there's still a pocket of people out there who are saying that they want it to be Bobby Petrino. Whether or not that is the right decision is not for me to say. I think a lot of people have been surprised, I guess maybe doesn't feel like the right word, but I feel like it's the only word I can think of at the moment, with the fact that the team is still playing and competing against a lot of good teams. I mean, they were right up against Texas A&M, who's obviously a lock for the playoff and is probably going to play in the SEC championship game. Right in it against pretty much every team that they've played against in SEC play, with the exception of Texas. So there are, when the change was first made, it was made clear that Bobby Petrino was going to be considered for the full-time job. Is he going to get it? I would be very surprised, at this stage, especially with the list coming out during the Texas game of Eric Morris, who's obviously now at Oklahoma, or going to be at Oklahoma State, Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, Alex Golish, South Florida, and then Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator at Alabama. So I would be stunned if it ended up being Bobby Petrino. But yeah, it was very much on the table when the coaching change first happened, and whether or not it was always going to be this way when he became the offensive coordinator, I think, like you said, it was always kind of in the back of people's minds. Mm-hmm. Once it happened this season, I don't think there was any surprise that Bobby Petrino stepped in and was the interim. Had it happened last season, I think it probably would have been Travis Williams, the former defensive coordinator. But then you fast forward to this year with the defense being as bad as it was, especially at the start of the season, and not that it's gotten a ton better. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner. It was always going to be, Bobby Petrino this season, because the offense has largely performed throughout the season, whereas the defense has been relatively poor.
I wanted to ask about that too. I mean, it wasn't like maybe even 2 years ago that Travis Williams was seen as like this huge, like on the rise kind of coaching phenom. I mean, I believe he was in the running for the Broyles just a couple of years ago. He was very highly regarded, but his unit just completely bottomed out this year. Like you said, it's maybe it's among the worst units just on either side of the ball in the SEC. I'm curious, like, what has happened there, because the offense, like you said, they put up points. I mean, they have a rushing attack that can put points up on anyone, but the defense has just not held up its end of the bargain.
Yeah, what exactly happened? I'm not fully sure. I mean, they lost their leader in Landon Jackson to the NFL draft. So I think that's always going to, I mean, that's obviously, he's never good. A guy like that is never going to be easy to replace. But you have, Quincy Rhodes, who has stepped in, who was his backup last year and has played really well. one of the few bright spots on that defense. Maybe him and maybe Julian Neal as well. Probably the big bright spots on that defense. I think Cam Ball's had a moment here or there, but he's playing like upwards of 70 snaps a game, so he's exhausted all the time. So it's tough for him. But I think the biggest thing with the defense is there's not a lot of depth, like I just mentioned. Cam Ball's playing 400,000 snaps a game. And I think there may have been some misses, to be quite frank. I don't say that to be disrespectful in any regard. I just don't know that some of these guys are guys who can be SEC level starters. Maybe they could be depth players, maybe they could carve out a role, but I don't know that. I don't know that you would see a lot of these guys starting on Texas A&M or even Auburn. Auburn's defense has been really good this year. Its offense it's kind of the inverse of Arkansas, right? But I think that is kind of what it is. I wasn't here just yet whenever Travis Williams' defense was what was keeping Arkansas in a lot of games, kind of the inverse of what it is now. But yeah, from where I stand, I think those are kind of the biggest things that I've noticed with it.
I was looking at the SEC stat leaders too, Anthony, and Damon Wilson, so Mizzou's edge that transferred from Ohio State. He's in third, tied with Quincy Rose for 8 sacks in the SEC. Colin Simmons of Texas in second with 10, and of course Cassius Howell at the top with 11.5. Payton brought up that rushing attack too. I was looking at the numbers. There's only 3 rushers with over 1,000 yards in the SEC this season. Ahmad Hardy in first, of course. Kawan Lacey, former Missouri running back, at 2. And then Mike Washington, third at 1,018. Payton said, that this rushing attack can score, really on anyone. It can put points on the board. What's worked so well just with that under Petrino, just getting that run game going?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Bobby Petrino has always, been, he's always had good rushing attacks. And, Mike Washington came in after a productive season at New Mexico State, if I'm not mistaken, one of those New Mexico schools. He came in from New Mexico State and he played really well there, and he's played really well this year. And I think one of the biggest things that they were looking to improve upon this year was the offensive line, because Jaquindon Jackson had a fine year last year. Taylor Green is who he is, and is a dual threat quarterback who's really good on his legs. But they didn't have a ton of opportunities for these big plays that you see, just because the offensive line wasn't what it needed to be. And then you go out and you get Corey Robinson, and you get you get Fernando Carmona back, you get Caden Kittler from UCF, you get some guys. Kobe Branham has developed after, I believe he redshirted last year, if I'm not mistaken. So you get some of these guys who are ready to step into that role and be who the offense needs them to be. Be that getting Taylor Green some more time to find a pass, which in recent weeks hasn't exactly been his strong suit, has it? Or give them the spaces to run, places to run into. And Mike Washington, he's not. I don't think he's the flashiest runner ever, but he's very effective. He's very strong when he runs. So, and I don't remember who he just like flat laid out in the Texas game, but he ran straight through somebody and went into the end zone for a 22-yard run. And that's been, I think, the biggest thing is just like they're all strong runners. I don't know that you're going to see them busting out any incredible moves, but they're incredibly hard to bring down, and I think that's kind of been the biggest thing for the rushing attack, along with the offensive line.
Yeah, Mike Washington's ESPN page, the first clip that you can look at on his highlight site is Michael Washington trucks a Texas defender en route to an Arkansas touchdown. So a lot of physicality there. I was looking at his where the schools he's been as well. New Mexico State, yes, and then 3 years at Buffalo for the Utica native. I think that's pretty neat. Kind of a just wide range of teams there. Payton.
Yeah, I wanted to actually ask a little more about Taylor Green. I mean, he has been like this really at times a straight up game breaking player for them. I mean, obviously a huge threat with his legs. He's a big dude. He's hard to bring down. He's got a great arm. But one thing that's kind of hurt him are the turnovers. He's thrown 11 interceptions this year. Is that kind of the biggest weakness of this Arkansas team? Because I know they've had problems with fumbling as well. Is that kind of like just the turnover bug, the biggest issue for them on the offensive side of the ball?
I would say so, yeah, for sure. I mean, Taylon Green, like you mentioned, has, he's thrown the 11 interceptions, and some of them, and not to be disrespectful, sometimes it's just like, what were you looking at? What was the goal there? And I've never been a quarterback, so I don't know how much I'm allowed to speak on it, but sometimes it's just you don't really know what why that decision was made. I think sometimes the decision making has been questionable. I think I don't remember if it was Texas or the game before, he threw into double or triple coverage when he had Jaden Platt wide open, for which would have been a big gain. Obviously, Arkansas's offense has been a very effective big gain offense. So I think that's been that. And then the fumbles, I don't really, I'm not sure exactly how you can really even explain it. But I mean, there were times, obviously, early in the season, they're driving against Ole Miss to potentially take the lead late, and they fumble in the red zone. The next week, they're driving late against Memphis to take the lead late, fumble in the red zone. And yeah, it's like almost inexplicable how often they can fumble just like at the most inopportune times. And it's very rare that they come up with the fumbles too. So, I definitely think the turnover bug has been the biggest weakness for the offense. And sometimes when the pocket collapses and Taylon Green is, kind of forced to scramble, it kind of goes one of two ways. Oftentimes, that can sometimes be when he's at his best, because he does have that escapability where he can go and rush for 20 yards whenever he's under pressure, or he can run backwards for a 20-yard loss. So there have certainly been moments of both of those, but yeah, I think the biggest issue on the offensive side has been the turnovers, and I think that's been one of the biggest reasons that you've kind of seen a lot of people turn away from potentially, giving Bobby Petrino the full-time job. It's because, hey, this is your offense of 2 years. Taylon Green has been your guy from the beginning, and, you turn the ball over. And a lot of times in the second half, they've kind of stopped putting up numbers. They haven't been scoring in the third quarter very often, and things of that nature. So, I think those are some of the reasons that you're probably going to see an external guy come in as the next head coach, or at least if you ask me for a prediction.
Let's get into that then. Well, last thing just on this game, Saturday, of course, no longer the Black Friday game, 2:30 on SEC Network in Fayetteville.
Thank God it's not a Friday game.
Yeah,
how tired I would be going from Chicago straight back to Fayetteville Thursday, Friday.
Well, we'll get into basketball in a second. Don't spoil that, Anthony. I know Payton might have a question too about basketball. Jack, he didn't send me any questions, but I'm sure I'll ask you one that he wanted. Let's talk about the coaching search, though. This is another coaching search for you. A little bit different this time with it being an SEC football team. I know you've done the basketball world twice now in the SEC, especially. What are you guys kind of keeping tabs on over, at the magazine and at the website on who Arkansas could be targeting?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Payton came out with, the list, I guess, of 4 names that, were, I guess, who the search was culminating around. And, obviously Eric Morris now is going to Oklahoma State, and then Alex Golish, Ryan Silverfield, and Kane Womack being the other guys who were mentioned there. There's a rumor floating around that it's going to be Golish. I'm not sure how much we can, verify that. I'm not certain of that. So I don't want to, comment on rumors or anything just because I can't individually verify anything at this point in time. Maybe by the time this comes out, it'll all be out and it'll be, whoever it is. But, there's been a lot of, chasing, what if it's James Franklin, and James Franklin's obviously Virginia Tech now. And, it is interesting to say there's people who want it to be John Gruden, which has been kind of interesting to follow along with, just because I personally haven't seen anything that would suggest it would be him. and he'd be interesting if nothing else. He's been out of coaching for a long time, so it'd be interesting to see how he would handle jumping back into it. But I'd be, like I said, very surprised if it ended up being him. But yeah, the coaching search has taken on a lot of different dynamics, and it's been slower, I think, than other coaching searches have had to do, just because it was a midseason change, and you had a guy auditioning for the job, just midseason, and Bobby Petrino, who, like I said earlier, I don't think is going to be the full-time coach. So it's been interesting. You've had other rumors about what if it's Matt Campbell up at Iowa State, who I'd also be pretty surprised if that ended up being the case. But if you were asking me to make a prediction, I think I would have to go with one of Golish, Silverfield, or Womack, just because those seem to be the names with the most smoke around them.
Any wild cards? Like the John Grudens? Any names that like you've been thinking about or you've heard about? Just reading.
Nothing really. I think Matt Campbell is probably the biggest wild card that people have thrown out there, just because it kind of came out of nowhere, just kind of some smoke, and I don't think it's I don't think it's going to be him. It's just kind of a rumor I've seen floated around. I don't know if there's any actual legs to it. I saw some people on like message boards and stuff just being like, what if it's Eli Drinkwitz? And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen at all. Just because obviously he chose Mizzou over Arkansas when he first moved to the SEC, and B, you look at the trajectories of the programs, why would you want to go and rebuild from truly the bottom of the SEC? And I don't think it can be controversial to say that, given Arkansas is in last place of the SEC right now, from an upper, I guess, middle half of the SEC team. So I don't envision that happening at all. But
he's from there,
and he is from there. That is correct. But yeah, and every time somebody says that, they're always met with he's not exactly the most popular man in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So that's often met with some not kind messages, I guess. But yeah, a prediction officially: Womack, Golish, or Silverfield. My official prediction. One of those two.
Hope it's not Golish. If Mizzou is looking for a new coach, I'd like for Golish to be in play there. But enough football. Gosh, these teams are depressing me. Let's go talk hoop. Anthony, Arkansas, obviously always going to be talk of the town as long as Cal is there. Very near miss in the Breslin Center. One that got away there. Then after that, had a couple real clunkers against Samford and Winthrop. They avoided disaster. But by the time this comes out, they'll have a game under their belt against Duke. Louisville is soon after that. Then they got some non-cons against Tech and Houston as well before conference play starts. I'm just curious what your thoughts are just on what we've seen from Arkansas so far, and kind of what your expectations are for their placement in the conference even.
Yeah, so it's interesting because the SEC, I think, is pretty clearly not what it was last season, and I don't think it ever was going to be, just because of how good and deep the league was, even if I disagree with Texas and Oklahoma getting into the tournament, but that's a different discussion altogether. Arkansas, I think there's potential there. Obviously, they've got the four rotational returners from last season, in Trevin Brazil, DJ Wagner, and Billy Richmond and Carter Knox. So there was a good foundation to build around, and they bring in Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan to the front court, which they needed to bring in big guys, because last season their biggest issue was rebounding. You saw it in the NCAA tournament. That was a huge reason why they got knocked out, and against Texas Tech, when they frankly should not have lost that game. It was it was a problem in against St. John's. They got out rebounded big. In SEC play, I remember they got out rebounded like 54-29 against Tennessee. So they needed to do something about that. So they bring in Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan, and so far the rebounding has been concerning. I don't know, and obviously it's still early in the season, so you think that maybe they can address that and get it fixed, but the rebounding has not been what I think they want it to be. John Calipari's talked a lot about how they haven't been as physical as they need to be, or things like that. But yeah, where I think they can be in the SEC, I think there's a pretty clear, I think on paper, top 6 of Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Auburn. On paper, like I said, Auburn obviously just got destroyed by Michigan. But I think it's pretty wide open. I think you can see some other teams kind of start to wean in there. Obviously, you see Vanderbilt and what they've done so far, even though they haven't played against a team with a pulse yet. You could say the same thing about Mizzou, who has played against one power conference team, but it was Minnesota. So does it actually count? So I think that's kind of where that kind of stands going into the season. I think I had Arkansas at like 11 on my AP ballot for the preseason. I've got them, I think, 22 or 23 right now. So they've certainly slipped, and obviously those close calls against Samford and Winthrop, both teams, I think that, can compete in their respective leagues, but frankly, probably shouldn't be competing on an SEC court. That obviously comes into play. So I'm intrigued to see how they go up against Duke, and especially in the front court, like I mentioned earlier, because Cam Boozer is Cam Boozer. So, that's that. So I don't even remember if I answered the question. I just kind of started rambling, but yeah.
Yeah, you basically did. I just kind of wanted your thoughts on the team overall.
There we go.
2 parts to wrap things up in the basketball world. Anthony, I remember when you had your AK top 25. Do you miss doing that? And then second, who is going to win the Missouri Valley?
I still get to do the AK top 25. Now it's just the AP top 25, which is kind of, a wild little adventure. I know it's kind of, strange to, look at the AP top 25 or college poll tracker and, see my name on there. It's very, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's also like, weird. So for the Missouri Valley, I think you've got a pretty clear, top 4. I think, Northern Iowa has been sensational to start the season. Ben Jacobson's been there since the dawn of time. Probably took over for Norm Stewart when Norm Stewart was at Northern Iowa. But, they've been really good to start the year. I think Murray State on paper is probably the best team, but they've been a little inconsistent, lost some games. They lost to SMU and then lost to, I believe it was McNeese State. So not bad teams by any means, but if you're going to be competing at the top of the league and, even competing for an at-large bid, which I know is what the Missouri Valley is really pushing for, is, those are games you want to win. So Murray's probably in contention. Illinois State coming into the year was everybody's kind of favorite just because of the roster retention with, Johnny Kinzinger and Chase Walker and those guys, but they kind of stumbled a little bit out of the gate and then just beat Coastal Carolina by 52 points. So maybe they're back. But yeah, I think those are kind of the big ones. I'm trying to remember if I'm missing anybody. I think people, were a little high on Southern Illinois going into the year. I never really was. I'm trying to think who else is in the Missouri Valley. Drake has been really disappointing. You've got Evansville and Valpo, who I don't think anybody's really expecting to challenge for the league. Indiana State, has not been great. Trying to go through.
Bradley. Can we mention Belmont?
Belmont, that's who I'm looking for. Belmont's been good.
Still undefeated.
Right? Still undefeated. Haven't played any super tough competition yet. I think they've got a decent game today. Let me pull up my KenPom real quick. Belmont is undefeated. They've got Toledo today, which will be the best team that they've played so far. But, they've got some good players. Sam Ormey's really good. Tyler Lundblade's one of the best shooters in the country. So, obviously, those them and Northern Iowa, I think, are the only two undefeated teams left in the league, which, and I haven't gotten the chance to watch Belmont yet, just full disclosure, but I have gotten to watch Northern Iowa a little bit. Northern Iowa looks really good.
Anthony,
So, right now, yeah, I'll go with Northern Iowa, but it could be a lot of different teams.
before you came on, we finished a preview or a recap of Mizzou against South Carolina State, and we finished it just by going through the bottom teams in KenPom and looking at the worst records, and then we also went through and found some of those positive ones. And so we just talked about Belmont, we just talked about Northern Iowa being undefeated and pretty high up in KenPom.
There we go.
Rick Bird would be
for my
proud.
oh, sorry, what?
Oh, I was saying Rick Bird would be proud of the program he left behind.
Yeah, Casey Alexander does a good job there. He's a good coach, and he's very bald, but good guy too. I've gotten to talk to him a couple of times, but I don't remember where I was going. But oh yeah, I do like a top 75 just so I make sure I'm not ignoring anybody. I've got Belmont or not. I've got Northern Iowa. I think at like 39 now, which maybe is a little ambitious, but I've been really impressed with them so far. So.
If you people ever need to see a bigger sicko, Anthony is saying he might think UNI his ranking of UNI at 39 is too ambitious.
He doesn't want to leave anyone out either. That's why he does 75. I think you should go to 100. I think you should go.
Might as well make it an even 100. I
might as well just go to the full 365. Just rank everybody every day.
Oh, North Florida just got this wing from D2 out of the portal. They're in the sliding them in at 97 here. No, my last question.
North Florida team's not a top 100 team.
No, they're not. I was just thinking of an example. It's a down year for the Ospreys. It's been a down about decade. My last question was going to be another conference preview. Do you like Columbia College's chances in the AMC this year?
I'll be honest, I haven't paid too close attention to the AMC. But I mean, you look at Columbia College through just about every sport, and they're always, right up there at the top. So I would imagine that they're going to be, competing atop the AMC again and getting into the national tournament. Actually, the first game I covered this year, first official, regular season game, men's basketball I covered this year was an NAIA game. It was John Brown University against Ecclesia, the John Brown famous annual toilet paper game. So I got to go to that. So I'm staying connected to NAIA hoops in one way or another. So I guess that's 3 consecutive stops in which I've done that, because I did some Columbia College. At Evansville, they got Ben Humrickhouse out of the portal from an NAIA school. Obviously, he's at Illinois now. And then now I went to cover a John Brown game. So stay connected with the little guy, I guess, is the overarching theme of the day. But
shout out Thomas
I'll
Brock,
say Columbia College.
Very good head coach there at Columbia.
Yes, yeah.
Anthony, we have to go back to Arkansas for a second. I totally forgot to ask you for a score prediction, and Jack didn't even give us a score prediction, so you're going to pick for Jack in this one. If you look at it, the highlighted ones with the wins, I was on a roll. Payton has been on a massive roll. He's in first place. He could actually pull away here, too, if he gets a win this weekend. But I had it 35-14 coming into the year. That was my score prediction. I'm not even touching my score predictions anymore. I'm leaving them as is. But you can go for Jack and pick your score prediction for this Arkansas game.
I think one of the things that I didn't bring up is that we don't know if it's going to be Taylor Green or KJ Jackson at quarterback for Arkansas on Saturday. So I think that'll be interesting. So for the Arkansas end of things, I mean, you always come back to the defense and just how bad the defense has been. And you look at, Mizzou's offense hasn't been, electric by any means, but in general. But the running game is obviously very good with Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, combining names, and Bo Prabula can obviously run as well. And Arkansas's defense hasn't been good at anything, or most things, and I think that'll obviously be what they're preparing for, but I don't know that they can stop Mizzou's running offense. So I will say I think Mizzou will win the game. And I think I'm probably going to go. I'll go 35-21. How about that?
Okay.
35-21 Missouri.
And
That's
if you
my
get that right, and
prediction.
if you're the closest one there, we're not going to count it for Jack. I just don't think he deserves the points. But yeah, if you got it. 35-20.
There we go. I'll take it.
Payton.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with Anthony. I don't know that Arkansas will be able to stop Hardy. Hardy has been good. Teams have done a good job of kind of corralling him. I don't think Arkansas falls into the good team category. So I'll say Ahmad Hardy gets it going. I do think this will be closer than it should be, just because Arkansas's offense is explosive. I'll go ahead and say Missouri will win this one 27-23.
All right. Well, that's 35-14 for me, 27-23 for Payton, 35-21 from Anthony for Jack. Of course, that one won't count if Anthony's correct. We're not going to give Jack any credit or any
Don't
points
give him
for that.
any credit. Yeah.
No, he decided not to join us for this. Anthony, where can the people find you if they're looking for some Arkansas coverage this weekend?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at AMF Kristensen. You can find me there. You can find me online at wholehogsports.com or at the Democrat Gazette. Where you can find me at a lot of different places. But mainly you'll find me on Twitter at AMF Kristensen and wholehogsports.com. So that'll be where you'll get to read my lovely writing.
Before we get over to quick hits, I think the people have heard the cats running around. Can we see one before we get out of here?
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, it's one of the sisters' cats. He's trying to get away. I think that's Theo.
Theo?
So I believe that's Theo. Yes.
Who does Theo got in the SoCon this year?
I think Theo's got Samford. I think we're
Okay.
we're Yay-Cuff believers here. So I think that's who we're gonna go with. I think that's Theo's got Samford in the SoCon.
No buckyball, no problem, according to Theo. How about that?
But hey, East Tennessee's real good too. So who's to say?
Well, thank you again for joining us, Anthony. Hopefully we'll have you back on during basketball season when Mizzou and Arkansas match up again. And we'll see you guys on the other side with Quick Hits.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, quick hits time. We'll finish up the show. I'm back. I hope the Anthony interview went well. Ourselves in this moment don't know because they haven't recorded it yet. Jerseys of the week. It's a little glean into the show.
I hope he actually came on the show because it would be really awkward if I actually didn't text him to come on. My jersey of the week goes to Ian Wheeler. Talk about friends of the show. Ian Wheeler's been on the show before. It's okay.
It was really good.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it.
That might be my favorite interview ever. Oh my gosh.
That was a really good interview. Yeah.
It was such a good time talking
Such
to him.
a good time.
Genuinely joking aside, it was actually a really good interview.
Eagle fight never dies. Ian Wheeler could also work in the bird category as well. He was a St. Thomas Eagle, and really cool to see. This is really cool to me because I was at my mom's office today talking to one of her coworkers that followed Ian, and her son was there too. And he loved watching Ian and those Bears preseason games. And they asked me, like, have you reached out to him in a while? And I said, no, not really. I know he got hurt near the end of his time on the Bears practice squad and when he was in the preseason with Chicago again. And so didn't really want to bug him. And then I saw he posted on his Instagram story, who dat? And I was like, what? So I looked it up on Twitter and he signed to the practice squad with the Saints. And also in that same post that they were working out some other running backs, Jack. I already talked to Payton about this. Do you want to guess who the other running back that they worked out was? He's a Mizzou.
You'll never get it.
He played for Mizzou.
He played for Mizzou? Dawson Downing.
No.
Jesus. That's your first guess.
I don't know. You said I'd never get it, so I was just trying to go way left field.
That's fair.
You might not remember him, or you should. You should. You're not thinking about him.
He's
Kenny
from
and
our
I
time.
really or maybe not Kenny as much. I was a truther.
Oh,
I was a
man.
truther. I remember
Can I
I
have
wrote
his
that
initials?
story. EY.
Oh, Elijah Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
I-
kind of funny when I saw that.
I covered a game Elijah Young played in, not for Mizzou. Fun fact.
WKU played against-
WKU Alabama last season. He ran the ball a couple times. That's all I really remember.
He averaged like 5 yards a carry at Mizzou, and they just didn't like him.
Let him
really
play
hurt
against
me.
Tennessee, and that was it.
Truther.
Yeah.
Truther.
But good for Ian
Um,
Wheeler. By the way, really happy for him because it was just a crowded room with the Bears at the end, and like you mentioned, he just kind of had to battle through injuries the whole time.
Yeah, exciting. Hopefully he makes the most of the opportunity in Nolans. Payton, your jersey.
My jersey of the week is going to be Ahmad Hardy. Not unexpectedly, he was named a Doak Walker Award finalist. 1,400 rushing yards, 250-plus yard gains, 983 yards after contact. It's a season that's worthy of being in the top 3. I don't think he'll win. I think Love has it locked up. But as many pointed out on Twitter, shout out to pretty much every Mizzou beat writer that tweeted about this. The finalists for this award are Jeremiah Love, who's from St. Louis, a Missouri running back in Ahmad Hardy, and a guy who played at Missouri last year in Kawan Lacey.
It's like there's not like that many differences too, just between Jeremiah Love and Ahmad Hardy's numbers. Ahmad Hardy definitely has more carries, he has more yards, just less touchdowns. I think Jeremiah Love is just a little bit more efficient, and he's going to be on a team that makes the playoff.
Yeah, Missouri is not as good as Notre Dame is.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's how these play out.
Yeah, it's tough. It is great. I mean, the Mizzou, we have been so incredibly spoiled to watch so many good running backs, and I hope whatever shakes out for Missouri this offseason that Ahmad Hardy, spends his third and hopefully final season of college football at Mizzou, because I want to keep watching him.
I just realized this too, that when Tyler Bidet broke the Mizzou record, it was on the road at Arkansas, and Ahmad Hardy could do the same thing.
How many?
Where did
yards
Schrader
he
break
lose?
it?
Is he 200? Cody Schrader probably broke it at home.
Yeah, he probably did it early. Did it? Yeah, I remember that. I remember when Bidet. Yeah, that was at Arkansas. Good point.
Well, yeah, because they knew they were going to lose, so they just fed him.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
feeding him.
Yeah,
and then they didn't let him
that's
play in the
right.
bowl game. 1,627 yards for Cody Schrader in 2023.
So he
Okay,
needs
so it did
200
take a
and
monster effort to
Yeah,
bring
he
it
need-
tomorrow. He could, with the bowl game, get it though.
yeah, he needs 258. Am I doing that? No. 63. Am I doing that math right?
What was the number Kenny said? 1,600 and what?
27.
So he needs.
Oh, sorry.
224.
224. I thought he said 67, not 27. Gotta get my yeah, I lobbed that up. I didn't even do that on purpose. My jersey of the week is gonna go to Jacob Cruz. I realize this is kind of a not up to date mark anymore. And it does not help that he didn't play very good against SC State. But coming into the matchup on Tuesday, Jacob Cruz was leading the nation in 3-point percentage in 6 games. He had made 16 threes, 61.5%. You can take the Caleb Grill out of the team, but you can't take the team out of the Caleb Grill. That makes no sense. I don't care. The spirit of Caleb Grill lives on. Jacob Cruz has had a really good start to the year. So, and shout out CBB Analytics, great website. So I'm giving them a free plug too.
Couple things here. First of all, Nigel Pack, Oklahoma. Cannot believe he's still eligible to play college basketball. My God. I mean, that's like 6 years now. Another thing, Riley Kugel didn't know he was at UCF.
I also did not realize he was still around until this graphic
Yeah.
was shown to me.
Good riddance. Sick of that. Third, David Coit, Maryland. Didn't know that.
Same thing. Yep.
That's all.
I think I had another one.
I Ames. I don't think I knew he was there.
Oh, the Tyler Nickel being on there. Ugh, scary flashbacks.
Mizzou season ended right there.
Defend him this time, Mizzou. Braden Shrewsbury, Mizzou will guard him in a couple of weeks. He's a good player for Notre Dame. They're not the best team, but he's good. Atwell for Texas Tech, also good. I could drone on and on. So there you go. Congratulations, Jacob Cruz.
Like no capping. He's the main bird.
Shawnee's main bird of the week. You know what I wish I did is put a turkey gobble noise for this year's main bird, for this show's main bird.
Oh, like Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it. There you go, Payton. That was good. Main bird of the week, Kenny. Give us a gobble, or at least the Iowa State thing. Thank you.
How about a gobble?
Give us a gobble.
What was wrong with that? Was that bad?
Good. That was fine.
Bird?
Okay. My main bird of the week goes to Sonny Gray. Finally, his time with St. Louis has ended. It feels like this was looming for a while. Cardinals are I wouldn't say in a fire sale, but trying to trade away some of their older pieces. And Sonny Gray's had a good MLB career. I wouldn't say he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's had a good run so far, and he's going to kind of continue that with a team that's probably trying to contend again in the Boston Red Sox. Gets traded there for Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark. Also cash and a player to be named later was thrown around in this one. Payton, do you want to guess who the player to be named later is? We could do a little game with this.
Well, it's a player to be named later.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to just guess who it could be?
Come back and
I have no idea.
I honestly could just go to like the FCL roster right now and just find the best right-handed pitcher that's like 18.
Yeah, the most hard throwing righty in the winter leagues. Like,
yeah, and he's just not in the top 30 yet. He's just very under the radar. I think that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Or if there's another David Ortiz, he's a noted player to be named later.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Cubs are signing Phil Maton. Money moves. Anyways.
Wait, can I, if Payton asked about his team, can I ask you, Ball Knowers, where's Peralta going to get dealt to? Who's going to trade for him?
Wandy?
No, Freddie.
Freddie, dude. Nowhere. I think they're going to keep him.
Okay. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I just know that the ace always gets traded.
Yeah,
so.
me too, because I want him gone. Anyways, my Shawnee's main bird of the week is going to be North Texas head coach Eric Morris. This is from ESPN. Thamel had it earlier, as well as a lot of guys. It felt like the agent just sent a mass text out because everyone all of a sudden had it. But Eric Morris, who has led one of the more remarkable offenses in recent memory down at North Texas, has them in contention for the college football playoff. They could very easily be the G5 representative. He is going to be the new Oklahoma State head coach. Somewhat worth pointing out. I mean, I'm sure Mizzou, if they're unfortunate, we still don't know we don't have finality with Drinkwitz yet.
At the time of recording, we don't know the proper news term.
Yeah, Morris could have been a guy I definitely could have seen Missouri kicking the tires on if they needed to hire a new head coach, but he's off the board. I don't know. I'd assume he's sticking with North Texas until the end of the year.
I thought I read that he said he was.
Yeah, so that's good at least.
He's just not wearing the apparel anymore.
What?
You not see this?
That's not true.
Not true.
You guys didn't see this? So, okay, that part I said wasn't true. The reporters were noting that he wasn't wearing, for the first time this season, he was not wearing North Texas apparel to the media day, to his press conference, his weekly press conference. They thought that was odd.
See, this is where like journalists are so like to just key in on that and be like, oh, he's not wearing a North Texas hat. And then 2 days later, he's gone.
I don't think that.
I
feel like that's a coincidence. I mean, he's going to have to wear North Texas stuff till the end of the year. I mean, I'm sure North Texas, like, people can like be a little bitter about it, but end of the day, if you make the playoffs with the guy, how upset can you really be?
I don't know, man. I think imagine you just get off the call with some Oklahoma boosters or whoever you need to talk to. And then, say a half an hour later, you got to go to your North Texas presser. I feel like just out of guilt, I'd be like, I'm just going to wear a t-shirt for this one. I don't know.
But I'm glad he's coaching to the end of the year because I didn't know that before I had picked this headline. But yeah.
It's exciting for him.
Oh yeah, this big board that I've alluded to. If Drink were to leave, Morris was the top of the list.
Oh,
Right next, he was my probably first or second choice. So
time to make some edits.
My favorite reaction to this is that I woke up, I fell asleep today, like when this happened. I was asleep for like 2 hours, and every quote tweet I saw was just home run. Like everybody was saying it, and some people I was looking through. I was like, it's like, do you really know that? I don't know, but it feels like everyone called it a home run hire.
I mean, I will admit, there were some Oklahoma State people who were interacting with tweets of mine about Alabama assistants. I think they were getting pretty desperate to just find someone and figure that out.
It's also funny you should mention that, Kenny, because in my drafts on X, the everything app, it all happens on X. I have it tiered off into how much I'd like them. Eric Morris was under the home run tier. That is now down to 2 people. And there is one, spoiler alert, Sumrall is in that tier, and Sumrall is not coming to Mizzou.
The other one's Brian Kelly. It's really weird. I don't know why he has
Brian Kelly is on the list, but he's in the bottom of the list. So I'll spoil it. Alex Golich is my top remaining option.
That's what. Yeah, that was my guess for who that was. It's good top of this guy. My main bird of the week is going to go to John Bishop. If you don't know who John Bishop is, but you're on social media, you've probably heard his voice. I don't think we need to play the clip, but I encourage everyone to go look up the clip. John Bishop is a Creighton radio broadcaster, and you guys are fans of sports. Everyone who watches is fans of sports. We all know how the local radio guys are. Sometimes they're a little more homery. Paul Allen's probably one of the notable ones for the Vikings. Gets very emotional, very animated, especially when things don't go the Vikings' way. There's a lot of viral clips out there. There's Eric Collins, who's the guy for the Hornets. People I'm sure have seen his stuff. John Bishop went viral for Creighton, got really mad at a foul call and was just screaming, sounded like an angry fan. I think he dropped an F-bomb.
He did.
At least when I heard it,
it's blocking foul, not effing foul.
Oh, okay.
Which is what I thought he said.
Okay, there was clarity on that. But just lost his mind at a foul call when Creighton played Baylor, and it's hilarious. I love it. I'm just kind of I love like critiquing and listening to the broadcasts and all that stuff and for games, and this was great. I think we need more of this from the local radio people. I think it's hilarious. So shout out to John Bishop. Go look up the clip if you haven't seen it.
I'm gonna zag a little on you here, Jack.
Oh, boo!
Little over the top for me. I mean, this guy is screaming at the top of his lungs.
It's the same thing over and over, too. It's not like something new. He just keeps saying his feet were set, his feet were set, his feet were set.
That is a bull crap call. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think he called
too much for me.
I think he called the ref incompetent. It is a little over the top. I still love it. I think it's I think it's somewhat.
I did think he said effing foul at first, but I've listened back to it a couple times and I'm 90% sure he says blocking.
Okay. I'm sure Awful. I didn't read Awful Announcing's article about it, but I'm sure they cleared a lot of that up. So there you go. Shout out to him. Creighton Blue Jays, Bird Connection. I don't think they won that game either. They're having a weird year.
Bit of a retool.
Yeah. So they lost to Iowa State by 18 today. Ugh. Iowa State's a good team. They lost 81-74 to Baylor. Best thing, Kenny.
Thanks. This is mine.
Payton, sorry. I don't know why we have it switched. It's like once a month it screws me up.
It's been like that for like 4 years.
I think we've had it's been like that for 4 years discussion for 4 years. It'd be weird if we said 4 years the entire time though. So scale it back if you're the audience. My best thing I learned is going to be Joe Lunardi's bracketology, because who doesn't love a little bracketology in late November?
I sure do.
He has Missouri as an 8 seed in this draw, playing Oregon, the 9 seed, in Oklahoma City. Strive will be there. I like that draw. I think Missouri's way better than Oregon this year. Oregon is a team that has looked rocky, but and this is the biggest but ever. Much bigger than Kenny's. If Missouri is fortunate enough to get by Dana Altman's Ducks, he would have Missouri playing against the Houston Cougars, the 1 seed of the South region.
What's wrong with that?
Ooh,
Or the Navy midshipman from the American. Hello.
Yeah, he has them playing Houston. That would be not a matchup I would enjoy at all.
That would be the first high major opponent in the tournament for Dennis Gates.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
it would. Oregon would be that because I got Mountain West is mid-major. So, and then the less said about the others, the better.
Yeah, that would be rough. I mean, playing a 1 seed is rough. That being on the 8-9 line just blows. I mean, we saw this firsthand in 2021.
I'd rather be an 11 than an 8.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Payton. We saw this in 2021 when, the Mizzou didn't even win that game against Oklahoma, but then Oklahoma just got fed to, one of the eventual finalists in the whole thing. So it's always
Gonzaga for those that don't remember.
Yeah, it's always tough. I do agree, though. I think this screams November projection. I don't think Oregon is making the tournament. That team doesn't have it this year, I don't think. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe that'll be an old take exposed. That's what Dana Altman loves, to have a really shitty regular season and then figure it out and beat your favorite team in the tournament.
March Riser.
Yeah. I don't like Oregon. Yeah,
they have SLU in this bracket for you weirdos that like SLU.
It's Vandy.
Yeah. Do they have SEMO? SEMO's good.
No, they have SIUE from the OVC.
That's basically Missouri. All right, Kenny, what did you learn?
Best thing I learned this week is that the Royals Award announced its 2025 nominees. I think people don't realize sometimes how many nominees go into this. Pretty sure it's a team from every school, or a coach from every school. So you can go down the list here. I was interested to see who the LSU one was. Of course, it is Blake Baker again, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach. All right. Missouri. This goes back to what Payton mentioned earlier on the Doak Walker Award. Curtis Luper is the nominee for Mizzou. I think that's the right choice. Second would have to be Brian Early, in my opinion, just for this season.
Yeah, and then maybe Nicholson, a long range shout.
Yeah, then it gets kind of, it gets pretty tight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely like the
teams.
selection
Right
of.
there.
I like Charlie Weiss from Ole Miss. That's a good choice for them. They've been a great offensive team when you have a D2 quarterback come in from out of nowhere. Obviously a good selection. Moving into Mike Eckler from Nebraska. Obviously a great special teams unit up there. I can't believe you two have not cut me off by now. I
agree with everything you're saying. I'm
not going to argue with you, man.
Have you seen the
scroll
videos
down for me, Kenny?
Of Mike Eckler? He's an animal. Like, he is just hilarious. Like, he riles up everyone on the sidelines. He has great lingo. It's a good choice.
I totally forgot Wink Martindale was Michigan's DC. That's awesome.
A little more. So not every team gets a nominee.
What team's missing?
What team do you think I'd be checking for?
Oh, Wisconsin? Maybe you have to have a winning record? I don't know.
They don't get one.
You probably don't have to submit one.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to see. I just wanted to see who they picked. It's all right. I don't have to say on that point. My best thing I learned is it's bowl projection season. This is week 2 of looking ahead to bowl season fun again. Just because your team's not in the playoff, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy. This is just one. I just picked one to have a graphic for the tweet. This one had Mizzou. Actually, it's low-key the worst opponent of the ones I was looking at. This one has Mizzou. This has Mizzou playing Cincinnati in the Texas Bowl, which is actually kind of a load of hot garbage. So I kind of don't want that.
Texas Bowl plus.
It'd be fun for Kenny.
I think the Texas Bowl is
The Texas Bowl is
nicer
good.
landing spot for them. But I mean, Cincinnati is nasty. I mean, at least I'd like to see Mizzou in the Texas Bowl against Iowa State.
The three others I was looking at, ESPN had them going back to Nashville to play Nebraska. CBS also had them going to Nashville to play Illinois, and Yahoo had Cal in Vegas in the Vegas Bowl.
What?
What do you mean?
That can't happen.
Can that not happen? Did I look at it wrong?
No, Mizzou cannot play in the
Vegas.
Vegas.
SEC doesn't have the Vegas Bowl. We talked about this in the last show.
Mizzou rotates. I don't blame Jack. I'm sure that site just might have messed it up. But yeah, the Mizzou this year could get Mayo Bowl. Like they're in that kind of slot. Like Mayo Bowl and Vegas Bowl flip-flop every year.
It does have them listed in the Las Vegas Bowl, so I'm not taking the L
don't
for that
believe
one.
that is possible this year.
Well, the other ones are possible. Yeah, Music City, Mayo. We'll see. Hopefully it's a fun opponent. The Texas Bowl would be kind of awesome.
If they get a good opponent, Cincinnati is not doing it for me.
Cincinnati would not be fun.
I'd still probably go to that because it's close, but
I'd be fine if they played an FCS team. If that game was in Houston, I mean, that would be fun.
I will say publicly, if it is the Texas Bowl, I might consider traveling to that. That would be a good time. I want to go to that stadium. What did you say?
That stadium?
What do you mean? What?
You know what the stadium is?
It's NRG.
Okay.
Oh, cook him. Get him, Jack.
I wouldn't say
what was it called
like
before?
it was a bad thing. I wanted to see it.
Okay.
I've never been to a game there. It'd be my second Mizzou Bowl in Texas. That is all I have except for best beats of the week. Shout out to FanDuel. Rundown. Payton lost. The Chiefs did win, but they didn't cover.
I thought it was 2.5. Damn it.
Nope. You got him at 3.5. I was in attendance for the Packers-Vikings game, man. I went there. 9 is not in a good spot. He stinks. He played real bad in front of me live. That was some game. And then Kenny's is still pending because remember he took Houston to win 8 or more regular season games. So
get in there, Kenny. You're close.
There you go. Shout out to FanDuel for the lines. Payton, what's your best beat of the week?
Yeah, my best beat of the week that I definitely didn't pull up just now because I forgot to grab one. I'm gonna go with Panthers plus 10.5 over the Rams. The Rams are going to win this game, but I don't think that's such a gaudy line. The Panthers are not a good team, but I think they'll at least, like, Bryce Young's hot and cold a bit. I think he'll be able to at least turn it up a bit to keep this one semi-close.
I don't hate it. I would love for the Rams to lose this, but I don't hate it. Kenny, what's Texans line?
Texans 4.5 plus 4.5 against the Colts. One of my favorite things ever is to look at the times that the Texans and the Colts have played each other in Indianapolis and the times that the Texans have won on the road, because it's not very many. Payton, do you know who the first quarterback to beat the Colts on the road was for the Texans?
What year? Can I get a year?
2016.
16?
Yeah.
God. It wasn't Yates, was it?
No.
Mallet.
No.
Osweiler.
No. But he did win there, I'm pretty sure.
Savage.
No.
Jeez, man.
Wait, the quarterback for the Texans in 2016?
It wasn't Schaub. That was...
Oh, my Lord.
I don't know. Who is it?
David Carr?
Oh, actually, 2015. But Osweiler was the first one to sweep the Colts in one season, so he's the first one to win home and away.
Oh, Hoyer.
No, not Hoyer.
Oh, that was a good guess, Payton.
I don't know. Who is it?
He played at Oklahoma State, if that helps.
Whedon?
Yes, Brandon Whedon.
Hold up.
Oh, my God.
Whedon, boys!
October 8th, 2015.
Brandon Whedon.
Quarterbacks to win there since Deshaun Watson has, Davis Mills, of course, has, CJ Stroud has, and the Texans have two of those guys.
The most memorable of those games.
two of those wins, or two of those guys have won, and two of those guys are still in the Texans.
Yeah, your franchise has not had very many quarterbacks. We'll see. We'll see if that'd be a big upset win for them in the hunt for the playoffs.
You got to beat.
I do. I'm a little, obviously I couldn't pick any of the Thanksgiving games. I want to shout out the slate, even though this will be coming out after. I really hope this lives up. The Thanksgiving games might be like fucking awesome. Packers Lions, it's a huge game. Chiefs Cowboys is a huge game, and then you have Burrow coming back for Cincy against the Ravens. It's big. It's big. You don't care. You don't care. This is like the one football day.
Oh my God.
You stuff your face and watch football, and you don't care.
I hope everyone that listens on podcast or YouTube could hear Payton just faintly saying that over your words.
I hope the Eagles beat the Bears by fucking 50 points. That's where I'm at.
I kind of do too. I'm a little sick of it.
Of winning.
I'm really annoyed that the Bears are 8-3 with a negative point differential. I kind of hope they lose out, and so it matches.
Okay.
The red color next to the winning record is not pleasing.
I'm taking the Niners minus 5.5 over the Browns. I really wanted to just take the Browns and just be on some crazy stuff with Shedeur starting again. So we'll see how that all goes. I'm kind of emotionally hedging because if the 49ers lose to Shedeur, I will love it. I'll be so happy. Couldn't happen to a better franchise. You guys do your thing. All right.
Have you seen the GIF of Anthony Robinson doing with the watch?
I don't think I have. No. There's
a GIF of him at a Mizzou football game this year. I think it's a Kansas game, and he puts up his watch like this.
Nice.
And then Butta is going like this with it, like it's on fire.
I like that you just go right to Butta.
That's his name. They call him Butta.
No, his name is not Butta. It's his nickname.
His family call him Butta. I call him Butta. That's how it goes.
Good reference.
Oh God.
What was Boogie? What's Boogie Coleman's real name?
Jerron. I'm emotionally hedging.
I've watched.
I'm emotionally hedging. Peyton's doubling down on the other game.
Yeah. What was your bet? I honestly forgot.
Niners minus 5.5. It's an emotional hedge.
Is it really not faster to just type it?
Sunday game?
It's a Sunday game. Nice, man. Okay. Tell your joke, Peyton. Send the people.
This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, what did the calculator say to the pencil?
Ooh. Kenny, props to you for nailing the joke last show.
Thanks.
I don't know. What did the calculator say?
You guys got to guess? Oh, my goodness.
No idea.
What did the calculator say to the pencil? You can count on me.
Why did could have said it to anyone?
Yeah, why does the pencil have to do
Shout out Sarah Lemire for the joke.
Who may or may not work at the Today Show anymore. We don't know.
I'm sure she does.
We don't know. We'll never know unless she wants to come on the show. All right, that'll do it. We will come back Monday. We will talk Arkansas. We will, like I said in the intro, talk about the if there is Drinkwitz updates. We will talk about all that too. It's just with the thank you. It's just with the Thanksgiving holiday and the timeliness of the impromptu meeting. They don't care about podcast schedules, so that's their problem. So enjoy the Thanksgiving week, the weekend football. We will see you next time.